So tell us a little bit about what's going on here today. Obviously, a great night for you guys.
Yes, this is our world premiere of Fihi with La Caravane Dance Theater at the Grand Theater.
Tell us a little bit about this particular one that you guys have created. It's Sufi, mystic type of thing that we love. Tell us a little bit about it.
So Fihi, based on Rumi's poetry. He's a 13th century poet, and he's so relevant for nowadays. He's talking about the transcendental, the beloved, the void, the journey in life, and it's always relevant in any time, any era. Because we're using electronics and bass and guitar and also a cello, so we bridge from classical music to electronic, and I needed something that will carry the piece, the show, with 13 poems of Rumi's. We have such a rich landscape of emotions and expressions through poetic words.
Beautiful. It's such an amazing history in the sense of going back to that ancient, mystic kind of world. Tell us a little bit about that.
So for me, life is a spiritual path, whether we want it or not. Why we're here, this existential quest of why we are human, even what is this planet, what is this world, why we are trying to connect and communicate with each other and trying to do amazing things on this planet. So basically through the poetry, it's basically talking about awakening, how we are as a human, as a sentient being, we can come together and be at service to each other and be at service to ourselves and be able to move through the struggle of being alive to the joy and bliss of this existence.
How did you decide how to kind of match the music to the feeling of the dance?
So I'm so lucky to have the privilege to work with talented artists, and Leah Pass, she is the composer and the librettist, and she basically transposed the lyrics. She actually translated and adapted the poetry as it's translated in English to something new that fit with the ability to sing it, and also how it's related to movement and composition. So she basically adapted the current translation that exists into something really unique and really that we can really even move through it without even say the words. We actually can interpret with dancing and expression what actually the essence of the poem.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the costuming, obviously. Hand-picked, really well done, and I thought it fit the piece really well.
Thank you so much. Again, I'm so privileged to work with amazing artists, and of course one of them is Annie Kuhn, and she's responsible for the design and the taking my vision for the piece and take it and make it real for us to actually move in something that is ancient yet contemporary, something that is talking about our future. And so what will be the look of that? And also to consider that we're using projection mapping design, which is a special projection light that moves through the show on our bodies, projected on the stage behind us, on the floor, dancing with us with the lights. So we needed something that can still be presenting us with a movement and showing the body movement, yet at the same time a color that can fit with that beautiful landscape of the projection mapping and the different color that the projection can create on our body and our costumes.
Beautiful. What is the story?
There is actually many different journeys and different stories weaved together. So each one of us as an individual, we actually chose a tarot card that represent who we are in this journey, and what is it that we need to learn through that journey. Where is our struggle, where is our weakness, and where is our strength? And then this is one thing that we used for the building up the piece. The other component was using the hero journey of Joseph Campbell. And again, Joseph Campbell talked about the journey of living the ordinary life, moving to the call. There is a call that's calling you to find your quest, and then you leave the house, you leave home, and you are on the threshold, and you don't know where you are. There is no direction, no path, but you keep going because there is no way back. And then you confront with a moment which is called the ordeal, where we are in struggle, in sorrow, grief, loss, where there is an ego crisis, where we are confronting a serious crisis, and we all know that that's part of life. And then coming from that, the dark night of the soul, there is a hope, there is the light in the end of the tunnel. And that hope is what gives us the moment that we're hoping to something new to happen, or something that maybe to save us. And this is where we receive the reward from moving through the struggle. There is a serious reward. And then the resurrection, transfiguration, and the return with a gift, with the elixir, and returning home or returning to our community with a gift and something that we can now bring with our wisdom from the journey to everybody in our community. So we base that with the 13 poems. Each poems fit exactly on the hero journey that I just described, and each character has a specific journey on their own, and we are basically also a family constellation. Yes. So we relate to each other. We are relatives. We are lovers. We are mothers and sons. We are sisters. We are grandma and grandchildren. So we had that as one of the relative world. And then on the absolute, the abstract, ethereal world, we're in, each one of us in completely different dimension, to bring each poem to life and to bring that journey and our personal journey through this Fihi ma Fihi.
Beautiful. And there's a little bit of nudity, meaning stripped down to the bone.
Well, that's right. So for me, nudity doesn't mean that you actually need to take off any clothes off. It's mean that you can surrender and let go of any masks, any attachments to any beliefs, any knowledge even. Whatever you think you know, eventually if you strip it off, really do you know really something? So there is something always to shed. It's like the onion layers. So in the core, what is it in the core? If we strip everything down, what's left? And that's the mystery of life. Every piece of this show is original, and I think it's, again, the gratitude that I have to all these people that were committed to work and bring this forward. And always I had this privilege to work with amazing people, and this show is my favorite.